You said inkgaming.com is the website, and the coupon code is the Wise Guys TCG10 to get a discount? Wow. Oh, hey guys. Today we got to talk about the meta decks. What do you expect to see when you go to a big tournament? We're not here to talk about your locals. We're not here to talk about your Grand Maju nonsense that you're going to see. We're not here to talk about the Dream Mirror decks that you're going to see. Although Dream Mirror is pretty doggone good if you actually read all the cards. Not really though. But anyway, let's get into the top decks and then see where we go from there. I think I'm not going to do them in any order. Let me get that out of the way. I'm not going to do them in any order. Although I do think there is a triangle format of Orchist, Salamangreat, and Thunder Dragon. Nothing really changed with those. Sky Striker definitely took a major hit, and it's very easy to see if you test online, if you observe people online, if you break down the numbers online from tournaments that we've already seen. Sky Striker is dead pretty much, and if it's not dead, it's definitely on life support, and it's only going to be played by those that just don't want to let the deck go, kind of like True Draco players. But anywho, I do think it is a triangle format, and I like these formats because you play one of the three, you have a pretty good chance of sweeping everybody if you find the right tech. That's harder with Thunder Dragon, therefore I think, you know, Thunder Dragon loses to Orcus. Orcus has a rough time with Salad. Thunder can pretty much beat Salad, and it all kind of trades off. That's what a triangle format is, and I do like these formats. But it also, with Sky Striker dying off, opened the door for a whole lot of other decks, so we have to talk about them as well. So if after you have those top three, I think you have to talk about True Draco being an elite deck. Yes, I said an elite deck. Nothing has happened to it. And as long as you have a card and a deck that's going to keep doing the same thing that it's been doing without a change, i.e. True Draco, i.e. Subterror, i.e. Altergeist, and they all have certain matchup problems for the top decks, you definitely have to mention those cards being at least near the top, if not the top decks of the format. Now, when we break down Thunder Dragon with Dimension Shifter, whether you want to main it, whether you have other cards in mind, such as Power Traps to back up Colossus and Titan, Impermanence, Strikes, Hand Traps, I don't like them too much, but Dimension Shifter, obviously skipping over your opponent's turn. As long as you're willing to take that loss in the mirror of playing three Dimension Shifters, you definitely got something going. And I think Thunder Dragon is actually the best deck. However, that comes with the notion that Orcust is not dead. A lot of people think Orcust is dead. They're out of their mind, and they're wrong. And the numbers on Yugioh Scope actually prove that they're wrong. I think the actual winning percentage is 60%, and it's being used the third most. So 60 to 61%. Anytime a deck is over 60%, it's a meta deck. So that has proved in the last week since the meta really changed. I believe since Monday, but online it's also changed and it morphed a little bit. But online, definitely since this past Monday, it's already shown that Orcus is not to be messed with. I almost said something else. Glad this is a family channel. But anyway, Salamangreat, obviously, if you have the correct player, that's my thing with that deck. If you have the correct player that really enjoys the deck, you have something on your hands, because as long as they know how to play everything correctly, still drop Dweller on you, still be able to do everything else with that the deck can do, still float, still recur their resources, still come back and pulverize you with the same cards, I think you got something going on. Now, a lot of people got let down. I saw a lot of this on Reddit, so I had to correct something because a lot of people don't know. Nibiru and the ability to search it with Granite Loyalist is not going to be a thing in Salamangreat unless you open some kind of god tier opening without Stalio and get to 2 level 4s. It's just not possible, folks, because you cannot use another type's attributes effect if you use Mirage Stalio, because you're locked in the fire. You got to remember stuff like that. Don't get cheated. I wanted to mention that. Now, and moving on to Orcust, all you got to do is adjust, play a Brass Bombard, play certain cards that may facilitate only playing the pure version. I think that's what really happened is Nightmare Mermaid allowed so many other decks to abuse the same engine, and now you pretty much have to play Orcust with Orcust. Those are the decks. That's the power punch in every one of the top decks. And I don't think anything really changed. So it basically boils down to that. Guru control, with Subterra Guru being able to just strangle you to death with basic combos like Hidden City and a Called by the Grave, Hidden City, and the already open Guru in your hand, and many other things, along with the back row that you can set. At least for right now, the back row decks before that Raigeki Harpy's Feather Duster card drops, which I told you was going to happen because they're never going to let Harpy's Feather Duster off the list. They revamped it. You definitely have powerful decks in these decks that they can sweep the tournament just as easy. However, I do think the cards and the decks up at the top are just flat out better cards. So let's break down the numbers of those specific cards. Up near the top, we still have cards like Altergeist Hextia being just, I think it's at like 72% still. I'm doing all these numbers from my head, so please feel free to go to ygoscope.com, check these out for yourself while I'm doing this video, or just turn the video off and go look at it for yourself. I use these numbers to help kind of break down what cards, specific cards, what decks, specific decks are the decks that aren't going anywhere. And very clearly, Altergeist Hextia is still really, really powerful. I think Abyss Dweller with some of the Salamangreat monsters under it is still ranked really high. Obviously, you have cards like Borosword Dragon as the game should be over the second that you use it. You have cards like Subterra Guru still sitting at 60-something%, along with Hidden City, along with Final Battle. That's why Subterra is so high. Diagram is also really high. Dynamite Knuckle is also still really high. I could go all the way down the list. I think Dengursu would be another card that would fall into the line. So if you can break that down, all of the top decks have that specific power card, whether it be Titan, whether it be Colossus, whether it be Dengursu, whether it be Kagari back when Sky Striker was a thing, and it kind of is trending towards this no really longer thing. There's like this guy riding up and down the street with a motorcycle, so please forgive the sound in the background. But anywho, I think Bomber Dragon is still really high. All the way down the list, a lot of Orcus cards are at the top, a lot of Thunder cards are at the top, a lot of Subterra Draco, a lot of Salamangreat, and it leads hand in hand with cards that win games and decks that win games. Duh, but obviously, if this does this and this does this and they go together, then you got something. Those are my top decks of the format. Hope that helps you. Make sure you get in the lab yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just take these other YouTubers' word for it. And make sure you test before you go to these events, whether they're regionals, YCSs, so on and so forth. This is Greg Farley from The Wise Guys, aka Pegasus, and I'm signing out. YG, baby!